What's up, guys? Welcome back. On today's episode, we've got in a customer car. It's a repeat customer. He comes back to me all the time. Dude's fantastic, great guy to work with. Having said that, we take care of our customers. So when he called me last night and said, hey, I'm broke down on the side of the road, something happened to the trans, clutch something, I was there in 20 minutes, pick dude up, take him on to work, bring the car home, and we're ready to go. So having said that, with just me loading it up on the trailer, what I believe has happened is when you spin these stock clutches up, higher RPM, they'll let go. Literally explode. I think I've even got one I can show you what I'm talking about. Not a damaged one, but a spare stock one. All right, so my spare stock one is buried underneath those wheels right there that belong to Nick. So if you're unfamiliar with these, this is your flywheel. This is where your clutch material rides. It'll ride on that disc. This one is a puck style clutch. As you can see, it's got pucks. Each one of these is the material that will grab between the pressure plate and the flywheel. You can see this used clutch is burned up a little bit as well. Life is still moderate. I mean, you can get some mileage out of this. This right here, we're basically saving for an emergency throw-in for, dude, we got to make a straight race this weekend. That's all this clutch is. This is a throwaway at this point. Now, the stock clutches, this is a full face material. This one is puck, so you only have material in these little spots. The full face ones, what will happen is they'll have these rivets like this, and these rivets are in the middle of the material, and it holds the material on. Those rivets, the material around them will I guess, move a little, and then it will break off, and the rivets will stay in the plate, but the material will just come off. And when it does, what it'll typically do is it'll double stack, and then you'll get a piece of material here, and then the loose material will get right here, and it will be two pieces of material wedged between this disc and this flywheel. And sometimes you'll even get it where it breaks on both sides at the same time. So then you can think about it, you've got a 3 times thicker clutch all of a sudden, and this 3 times thicker clutch, all of a sudden it's stuck in gear, and you can't get it to let go. Thus, I believe, is what it ended up happening to this car. I've seen it several times before in the past, especially Coyote cars. You run them to $8,000 on stock clutch, they're gone. They explode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually just going to time myself, see how fast I can go. I've already racked the car, but I'm going to see how fast that I can get this thing apart and transmission on the ground, or on the stand at least. So bear with me. Let me get the TH400 off of the engine, the transmission jack already. The TH400 from the Camaro is already on the stand. So I got to set it in the floor. As soon as I get it down, I'm going to start the time lapse, and we're going to get this thing out. So just for the record, because I had a scare just now, make sure you guys are wearing your PPE, your personal protective equipment, because I was not. Exactly 1 hour to a dot, trans out. So just as I suspected, I told the customer, I said, hey, the clutch exploded. Yep, she exploded. Yep, typical of high RPM on stock clutches. These things like to come apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the pressure plate and clutch out so we can look at it some more. All right, let's go ahead and get the rest of this out real quick, and you can see the pieces that are going to fall out on my head. So I'll just go ahead and knock them out and we'll sweep it up afterwards. That is a lot of friction material. It's just completely turned to dust. I didn't plan that accordingly. Sorry. My bad. You know, along for the ride there. Alright. Come on, fair. What? Alright. That could have hurt. Glad it didn't. Let's see if I can get that out. It's close. Come on now. Quit messing with me. Whoa, is that a twin disc in here? What? There's no way that's original. Bro, are you bringing the whole damn out? What the hell? Oh, my bad. Oh yeah. Look at this. No friction material left. That is what it should look like. And that is what it does look like. Exactly like I said, the rivets, the material around the rivets breaks and just explodes and shrapnel. What's up, guys? So now I'm back. Gonna get this clutch in this V6 Mustang finally. We waited forever. I thought we were waiting on the flywheel or the clutch. Turns out we was waiting on the flywheel the entire time. This sucker is heavy. I don't know how much it weighs, but it weighs a lot more than the clutch itself does. I don't know why the V6 cars have one that's this stout. Oh my goodness. This thing is literally a pain to hold with one hand. It is tough. So I'm gonna show you guys this clutch real quick. It's a Spec. I don't know exactly which model. I don't know if it's like a stage 2 or whatever, but it's the one that he ended up wanting for this car and ordered it. It's supposed to work really good. You know, the stock power car, so it's not like it needs to be turned up to the moon or anything like that. I did recommend going with something along this lines, or an Exetti or McLeod or whatever, but you know, this one right here, also a very good clutch. So hopefully it's got a good pedal feel. Obviously I've never messed with any of these V6 things. This is not what I normally work on, but it's a Mustang. So we're gonna make sure we get him taken care of. But anyway, so this clutch right here is thick. This is supposed to be the quote unquote lightweight steel flywheel. I don't recommend a lightweight aluminum flywheel on any kind of drag racing or street driving application. Reason being, the car likes the extra mass of the flywheel when pulling out from a red light or when launching at the track. As you can see, this clutch here, brand new. Everything's gonna go together smooth. And there, I haven't got the new bearing in yet. I'm gonna get it in right now and proceed to get the rest of this clutch on, and then we will go from there. All right, got this thing back on the ground. I got the battery hooked back up. Oh, so the last part of the clutch install is to put the shifter back on, which I already did. Put the console back in, which I already did. And then, before you say take it out, your clutch pedal right there. You're going to take this pedal and you're going to push it all the way down and bring it all the way back up. It is not going to return on its own. So you're going to have to pull it back up and pull it back up. So we're going to push down, pull it back up, push down, pull it back up until it's able to return on its own like this. At this point, you will then continue to pump this clutch until it feels normal, fully returns on its own, which this one is doing. So at that point, I now believe this clutch is bled. This car needs to be driven. And the break-in Cyclone is 500 miles of just easy driving. My tuner previously in the past, when I've done stuff like this, the guys that installed my clutch on my new setup way back when, they told me around 1,500 clutch actuations. So driving around town, stop, go, you're not gonna get 500 miles of break-in on the interstate. So even 500 miles then is just not enough. They want you to get the actual 500 miles of stop and go city driving, or roughly 1,500 clutch actuations to get a good bite into that clutch. It's just like beating your brakes when you change them with your rotors, making sure that it adheres correctly and burns in correctly. So at this point, we're gonna take it for a drive and wrap this one up. Hopefully you guys like this. Like, subscribe, come back, check out some other stuff, and we'll catch you next time. Make better choices.